This is a demo of a mock-up of a mobile application for use by field supervisors at Compass. The goal of this application is to allow people in the field to be able to enter primarily access mat movements, but it also can be used for rig mat and bridge movements. It's intended to work standalone on phones, tablets, or notebooks, or connected to the network. It can go either way. So I won't go through all of these details here. You can, but this is sort of a summary of what the goals were of the application when we first envisaged building it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to the actual application. This application is built using the very same technology as the operations application. I've called this one Field Operations, and what you're seeing, it looks a little different. This is the new version 9 of Microsoft Dynamics, and which comes with some better support for mobile applications. And when you would turn the application on, you would go directly, or the design currently, the way it sits, would take you directly to the field activities for that particular field supervisor that's logged in. And you can see I'm logged in here, and you can see my name in this owner column. The intent here is that a field supervisor would be able to see their data and only their data, and then be able to enter movements, reclassify inventory, or make sales of inventory. The interface, it can be resized. So you can see here, you can get a little bit broader look. But we're basically, this top line is saying there was a movement of 55 mats from Minhas Yard to a job site, and it's been approved by the field supervisor. And there were no comments on this line. To enter this, I'm just going to uncheck that row, and the toolbar at the top will change. I want to be able to add a new field activity. This toolbar at the top will be changed to clean up any unwanted items. So I'm going to go into New, and it defaults to movement. I could switch to a sale or reclassify if I wish. I could change the date and time. So I could say that it happened back at 11:10, for example. And then I click on the check mark to accept that. If I clicked right on the date, then I could change the date and move it back a day, for example. Quantity, straightforward quantity field. I'm going to enter in 40. In this example, I'm going to pick my location where I'm coming from. This is one of the main reasons why this needs to be a different app than an inventory activity, because we want to be able to see what the on-hand quantity is. So I'm going to move some more inventory from the Minhas Yard. I just typed in a few letters. It shortened the list to just the inventory records that are available at Minhas, in this case only good mats. And the quantity is 1,000. That shows underneath the name of the yard. So I'm going to pick the Minhas Yard, and I'm going to move it to a location. It shows by default recent locations that we've been working with, so it's suggesting something to that you've been recently using, so that will make entry a little bit easier. You can also, though, enter in the, for example, the last part of the job. I don't have to put in 1850. I can just put in 050 or 50. It looks through the whole string. You can see that that 50 is bolded wherever it might find it. And in this case, I have both racked and rented mats available. That's going to allow us to easily move between rented and racked. In this case, I'm moving it from a yard to a job site, so I'll choose this one. I can put in any kind of comment I wanted here, and I also, by default, it's going to go in an entered status, with the idea being I could enter it, in the field. Then when I have all the paperwork, I could review that paperwork and make sure it aligns with what I've put in for my entries. When I'm satisfied that it is exactly right, I'll change the status to field supervisor approved and hit save and close. Now that is available to be updated on the operations side in the office. Now it doesn't show here automatically by default. I do have to hit the refresh button, and you'll see it just showed up at the bottom here. And now I can see that there is that 40 that's been approved, and that is going to go on to be moved in as an inventory record. This approach allows us to do more than just field activities. We could go in and look at jobs, for example, and have information about jobs and zero in on that particular job and look at details about the job. We could add other things on here, dispatches. There's really no limit to what we could add to this very easily using the very same tools that we're using to build the applications that we have been using on the admin side. I'm going to switch over to the admin side for a second and show you what that looks like. So on the admin side, we could have, first of all, here's what the administration looks like today using version 8 of Dynamics. It would also change when we migrate to version 9. I've added underneath here field activities. If we click on field activities, it will take us in and we can see all of the field activities. Now my first demo was a completely different database than this demo, so the information doesn't align, but you can see that you can see all those field activities. The idea is that we could take all the ones that were in, perhaps in, field supervisor approved status. We would then be able to run a workflow to say take all of those and add them to inventory activities, and or we can go in and make any corrections that we need to make at this level before we push them on to become an inventory activity. Once they're made an inventory activity, I will simply I won't do it right now, but that would typically change that from being an active field activity to an inactive one. It would still be there for history, and we would simply be looking at the ones that have recently come in. This is something we need to discuss. It could be something that we do multiple times throughout the day, whenever there's transactions that have been approved in the field, or we could do it only once a day. That becomes a policy decision. So that's the rough look of it. If you have any questions, love to hear what they are. Give me a call back and we can discuss further. Thank you.